All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elder bishops, a great millstone, who continue to rule well and guide us through the Holy Spirit. And peace and blessings, shalom to the Most High's hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth. I'm the brother Yagadal. I'm a warren from GMS Houston, back here with another lesson. All right, and as always, Lord willing, to be edifying. And I just wanted to get straight into this, all right, because I've been seeing the spirit's been heavy on Isaiah 4:1, all right, and I want to quote Elder Yashawamba first, all right. He said Isaiah 4:1 is not going to be like an Uncle Luke video, all right, which you hear a lot of Jake speak like that when they speak of this scripture, all right, as if we just going to be having a fucking party and having all these women, and it's going to be a joyous occasion. No, so the spirit that jumped on me, I was asked, made the statement in my head, all right, don't forget why Isaiah 4:1 is going to come to pass. Okay, it's going to be some very serious conditions. First of all, we're already in those conditions, all right, we're entering into them. We're dealing with inflation, all right, we're seeing these prices go up. We're seeing the job market, all right, get worse and worse. Okay, and this is just the beginning. Okay, as the scriptures say, man, we're witnessing the beginning of sorrows at this point. Okay, so let's get into the scripture. All right, Lord willing to be edifying once again. All right, this is Isaiah 4:1. It says, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, and 7 represents completion. So it won't just be an exact number of 7 women, one man. All right, and this gonna be a man of spiritual value. Okay, it's not gonna be Pookie and Ray Ray. It's not gonna be just average weenie in America. All right, why? Because these women are gonna be looking for protection. They're gonna be looking for guidance. Okay, they're gonna looking to be under someone who can that they feel safe under because of the conditions that we're in and the conditions that's gonna worsen. Okay, it says, saying, we will eat our own bread, and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Okay, real quick, I want to get reproach and etymology. All right, this is a reproach, which is a noun. All right, mid 14th century reproach. It says a rebuke, blame, censure, directed against a person as object of scorn or contempt, as disgrace, state of disgrace. All right, jumping down, it says blame, shame, disgrace. Okay, all right, and I just want to hit that real quick. All right, so let's go back to Isaiah 4:1. All right, so this is the reason. All right, women are going to be looking for security, for safety, because of the conditions that's going to be going on here in America, man. All right, now we already seeing the initial wave of humbling, all right, these so-called women is the job loss, because that's been their security for so long. Okay, they've trusted in their college degrees, they've trusted in the job markets that they've been able to get into and thrive. They've trusted in the government programs that's been able to keep them above the man. Okay, but you see, our beloved Trump, he's cutting all that shit, man. Okay, so these women are getting into an humble state. First of all, they're seeing, watching Apostle Tahar's lesson going into Isaiah 4:1. All right, and he was playing a clip of this woman. She said, really, it's 100 women to every one man. Okay, so you better get used to fucking sharing. All right, because y'all ain't the pick of the litter. All right, nobody's sitting up all night except for these weenies, and the weenies are even getting tired of you fucking women, man. All right, fucking thirsting for a woman with fucking 3 kids. All right, and fucking fucked up edges, man. All right, with fucking crawfish on our breasts. You bitches are fucking. And I'm gonna quit saying women. All right, because women are scarce in Babylon. All right, you bitches are being humbled at an all-time high, man. Okay, now I want to get into this article before I get into some scriptures, man, because I want to put a heavy emphasis on why Isaiah 4:1 is gonna come to pass. Okay, it's not gonna be just go well, we're just partying and bullshitting and got all these women. We gonna be in some fucked up conditions too. All right, we might have lost a job. Okay, we might be with our back against the wall. All right, when these things come down the pike, dealing with inflation leading to hyperinflation. Okay, all right, food shortages, job shortages. Okay, all right, the crime rate shooting through the fucking roof. Okay, there's not gonna be no fucking picture perfect day when Isaiah 4:1 comes to pass, man. Okay, but yeah, I got this. This is off Economic Policy Institute .org. All right, and this is posted from February 10th of this year, 2026. All right, this is an article by Valerie Wilson. It says black women suffered large employment losses in 2025, particularly among college graduates and public sector workers. All right, it says the 2025 labor market can be best characterized as faltering. The national unemployment rate climbed to its highest point in 4 years. Job growth slowed dramatically, and federal employment fell by a staggering 277,000. Black women bore the brunt of the economic slowdown, suffering. And this is in a way, this is beautiful, really, because all right, our women, all right, not just the black woman, all the Israelite women, all right, they've gotten in bed with Esau, man. Okay, and turned on the Israelite man. All right, taking the children away from us, putting us on child support, putting all type of hell on us. All right, taking our child away and having some other man in their life, and we have no power because this law system has made us defenseless against our as a man in the society, man. So this is good. This is happening, y'all asses. Y'all have taken all this pride. Oh, I'm getting my bachelor's and I'm getting my master's. All right. Well, a lot of you motherfuckers are jobless right now. A lot of you have fucking started OnlyFans, selling feet pics and shit. All right, trying to fucking survive. That pride has been stripped from you fucking bitches, man. Okay? And I'm not going to be PC in this lesson. Fuck it, man. I'm sick of this fucking place. I'm sick of the pride of this place. I'm sick of the arrogancy, all right, of the people in Babylon, and specifically you Israelite women, man. You had your fucking run. You had your fucking time, all right, to live it up, all right, with Esau tossing you his fucking scraps off the table so you can shit on the Israelite man, okay, that birthed you. All right, when I say birthed you, I mean he came out of yours. You came out of his seed, man. All right, he planted you in your mother. Okay, and back to this article. It says black women bore the brunt of the economic slowdown, suffering far greater employment losses than other groups of women or black men. Now, why is this? Why did your educated college graduate, all right, women, all right, lose jobs more so than other women and black men? All right, first of all, the jobs that you guys were having and thriving off of, you're really not fucking needed, man. All right, that's why a majority of America is going through black woman fatigue. They tired of fucking Keisha in the office loud with colored hair and long nails. All right, they don't want to see your ass at the luncheon no more. All right, when they having the company Christmas party, they don't want to see your ass drunk over there hitting on everybody and shit. All right, fucking tired of you, man. And a lot of your jobs are you really useless, man. AI can do what you're doing. A robot can do what you're doing. All right, answering phones, all the RNs and shit. All right, yeah, they can have a robot come in and check blood pressure. All right, fucking draw some blood. Okay. All right, all that pride you had in these certain jobs. Okay, and now I want to say in black men. All right, what industry are black men in? All right, they're in industries, all right, with such as oil and gas industries, man. Okay, manufacturing. Okay, they're in industries that thrive a society. All right, they're in industries where it takes a real trade, something that you can that betters a society through whatever you're manufacturing or building or producing. Okay, let's read on. It says, notably, some of the largest losses among black women were college graduates and public sector workers, according to our analysis. In 2025, black women's unemployment rate fell by 1.4 percentage points to 55.7 percentage. It's a percent. It says this is one of the sharpest 1 year declines in the 25 years. All right, it says see figure A. I'm not going to go up to that chart, but it says the decline among black men and white women has no more than zero point 0.5 percentage points each, while Salaki, it says each. Let me read that sentence again. It says decline among black men and white women have no more than zero point 0.5 percentage points each, while unemployment rose slightly for Hispanic, additional 0.6% percentage points, and it says AAPI plus 0.4 percentage points women. It says at 55.7 percentage, black women's unemployment to population ratio, all right, was well below the most recent peak of 57.8 in 2023. All right, it says reflecting employment losses that started in 2024 and accelerated in 2025. I just wanted to go in that to show, all right, these women, all right, of our nation, all right, who took pride. Oh, I'm a college graduate. They look down on you and shit. Oh, you do this, you do that. Like I remember that little weirdo that was catching fades all over the internet, Aaron the plumber. All right, they was when he went on that balloon popping shit, they was talking down. Oh, you a plumber and shit. No, that's a reputable trade. Okay, and it shows you how ignorant, all right, so-called black women are, man. To not know that a man that's in a trade like that is living a good life. All right, he's making a decent wage, man. Okay, versus your ass who's sitting there in a fucking ice cold hospital, all right, with a bad attitude, checking blood pressure all day. All right, so that plumber is going to be needed in society. All right, versus the industries that you women are in. Okay, but they don't need your ass. You fell for the trick. You went and accumulated all this fucking debt in college. Okay, all right, taking all these loans to get through these get these degrees. All right, and now they're useless. All right, and the world is dubs you as useless. Okay, so let's get into some scriptures, man. All right, real quick, I'm gonna read this in the NLT. This is Jeremiah 30:7 in the NLT. All right, getting into why Isaiah 4:1 is gonna come into pass, man. And this is for the brothers, man. All right, keep in mind, Isaiah 4:1 ain't gonna just, oh, the women are fucked up and they looking for men of the Lord. All right, and we gonna be sitting around getting grapes put in our mouth and shit, man. Nah, man, we don't know how it's gonna play out, man. All right, but things are gonna worsen to a condition to where these women are gonna be humbled, all right, to share a man or be under one household, all right, with other women, all right, and one man there. Okay, this is Jeremiah 30:7 in NLT. It says, in all history, there has never been such a time of terror. It will be a time of trouble for my people Israel. Okay, so there is not just gonna, the women are gonna feel the blunt because first of all, they're gonna get cut first, man. All right. But we all gonna be feeling the fucking heat. We're all gonna be dealing with unemployment. We're all gonna be losing homes, all right? Dealing with food shortage, man. We all gonna be, hey, we gonna need the protection of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? All right, and for the men of the Lord, man, the Lord is gonna be sending could be sending women to help you in that time, man. Not in the sense that we need them, but help us as far as fucking taking care of the household shit, cooking, taking care of things while you are the provider, man. Putting things in its proper perspective. But we don't know the time frame on these things. We don't know how extreme things are gonna be. Okay, but we are in the beginning stages of Isaiah 4:1, man. All right, I'm seeing I'm seeing all type of women trying to pop back up, man. All right, trying to fucking know been working on myself. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Yeah, I don't want to hear all that shit, man. All right, I used to always joke and say, man, hey, these women don't want to see me in that fucking day. All right, because I ain't forgotten now one of the smart comics. All right, the disrespectful statements, the wicked fucking shit you women have done. So don't come looking for me. All right, it won't be a pleasant thing if the Lord's on my side, man. Okay, it says, yet in that day there shall be they shall be saved. All right, the remnant shall be saved. All right, the elect. Okay. All right, but just wanted to hit that, man. We're entering in a time like never before. All right, and it's going to be a time of trouble for the Most High's people, man. All right, this is going to be the ending before our eternal peace. Okay, so let's get into some as a segment the apostles that went in 2 years ago, the ugliness of the scriptures, man, which you don't hear in these harlot houses. All right, they don't go into to prophecy and the ugliness of the scriptures, the things that people don't want to talk about, man. Okay, the grape issue, okay, and all the horrific things that's coming to this place, man. All right, because that's not profitable. That's not going to bring the masses in to fork over that money. All right, but this is Ecclesiastes 12:3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, man. This wasn't hit that, man. We're entering into an all-time job loss, man. Okay, now they play with the numbers and they tell you, oh, we had this many. They know they don't. They tell you a rise of employment, which is bullshit because they don't go into the people who were previously unemployed, all right, and then the amount of people who are newly employed, man. Okay, but it's not easy to find no job. Going back to the point I made earlier, if you don't have a trade, all right, one of these essential jobs, all right, and you looking for work, it's hard, man. All right. Ain't nobody looking for fucking secretaries out there like they was at one point. Just a pretty face to sit at a desk and answer phones and write dates down on a piece of paper. All right, there's too many apps for that. They got AI. All right, you got ChatGPT. Okay, it's replacing a lot of job markets, man. Okay, so these are reasons why Isaiah 4:1 are gonna come to pass, man. Okay. Let's get over here. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15:16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to be chaos, all right? All right, you're going to have people rising up against this wicked ass, all right, government. All right, coming for the leaders of this of America, so to speak. All right, when I say that, your city officials, your local senators, all right, your government officials. Okay, there's gonna be lawlessness, man. All right, the police force is gonna decline rapidly, man, because the police officers are gonna have to make a decision: do I go out here and risk my life for nothing? Okay, or do I stay home with my family and protect my family, man? Okay, it's gonna come a point where you're not gonna be able to call the 911, all right, and get protection, man. Okay, so what are they gonna look to? They're gonna look for safety. Okay, when all this shit is going on, a woman's gonna be in fucking fear. All that I fight niggas and swinging on men and all that shit gonna be out the door, man. All right, because a lot of these men who put up with that shit ain't gonna take that shit in that day. All right, you might make one comment and get your fucking face slapped off, man. That's what it's coming to, man. All right. Hellish conditions put women in a proper order, man. Okay. So let's jump over here to the book of Isaiah. All right, this is Isaiah. This is in the KJV. This is Isaiah 13. I'm gonna start at verse 9. It says, behold, the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate and he shall destroy the sinners out of it. Now, I thought you Christians said God hates the sin, not the sinner. Okay, it's too many scriptures that he states, man, he's going to punish the ones that's committing the act. Okay. All right, that's how, all right, when you go into 2 Peter 3:10-11, all right, it speaks about the very works thereon being done away with, all right, roughly paraphrasing. All right, why is that going to be? Because the ones who's enforcing or putting, all right, this wicked way into motion are going to be taken out of power, man. Okay. And reading on, verse 10, it says, "For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible." And this is why Micah 2:10 is so important, man. All right, that we don't get caught up. All right, when you go in Jeremiah 51 chapter, it makes you don't want to get caught up with her sins, her iniquities. Okay, so that's why we're separating ourselves from this place. All right, mentally and spiritually, man, physically as well. All right, not a sense of leaving, but we're not partaking in the shit that the rest of these Babylonians are partaking in, man. All right, we're gravitating towards Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai continually and separating from this wicked ass spirit of Babylon, okay, which is nothing but disorder and confusion, man. All right, and adversity against the perfect laws of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, okay. All right, so we have to make sure we don't get caught up in the proud. We don't get caught up with the arrogant, okay. So when the destruction comes upon them, we won't partake of it, man. Okay. Now, this is getting to the point. Verse 12, it says, "I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir." Now, this is not talking about just any, like I said, this is not old Captain Save a Ho weenie ass nigga. All right. All right. This is talking about men of the Lord, man, are going to become very precious because the Lord is going to be dealing, all right, with the men of the Lord on a different scale at these times, man. Okay, as he said, man, my servant shall eat. So he's going to be taking care of the men of the Lord, all right, while the rest of this place is catching all out hell, man. Okay, verse 13, it says, let me make sure something real quick. All right, verse 13 says, "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger." And that's what we're waiting on, man. Okay, now when we go in Isaiah 4:1 and we get excited about it, we know, because we know that what comes with Isaiah 4:1. Okay, Jacob's trouble, martial law, all right, famine, pestilence. Okay, but all that is leading to the end. So that's why we're excited about 4:1, because that's Isaiah 4:1, because that's another, all right, prophecy coming to pass, showing we're that much closer to the Lord returning, okay, and bringing this kingdom down, all right, with his heavenly hosts and the thermonuclear missiles, man. All right, the Lord's going to show you the ultimate army, man. Okay. All right, but let's keep reading. It says, and it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. And we're already seeing that now, man. All right, these other nations are cutting their losses in America and getting out of here while they still can, man. All right, because they're seeing how bad things are getting, man. A lot of these actresses and actors and people with any type of money, all right, are getting out of America, man. So when it gets to this point, there's going to be a whole nother scale of people trying to escape out of this motherfucker, man. All right, with verse 15, it says, "Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword." And this is beautiful, man. Okay? Because going into this topic of Isaiah 4:1 and pinpointing the Israelite women, All right, they've latched on to these fucking Edomites, man. They seen him. This is the man of power. This is who we're gonna respect. This is who we'll shut up for. This is who we'll ask for permission. This is who we'll be polite and feminine for. Okay? So in that day, all right, we always go into this, man, with any Jake, no, but you fucking women, man, that latch on to this fucking devil, all right, your ass is gonna get thrust through. Okay? All right, verse 16, it says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. All right, and that was the main point I wanted to get to, and their wives ravished, man. Ravishing is about to come in at a high rate. Grape is about to come in at a high rate, okay? Because of the lawlessness that's gonna come, that's coming, okay? Because of the love of many waxing cold. Okay, so we have to keep in mind, dealing with Isaiah 4:1, it's a reason that that's going to come to pass, and it's not going to be no picture perfect fucking day. All right, so that's it for this lesson. All right, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua willing, it was edifying, in which I give all praise, honor, and glory to once again. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Ruach. Double honors to our apostles and elder bishops at Great Millstone and the men who taught them as well. And peace and blessings, shalom to the Most High's hopeful elect. Keep fighting, keep pushing. We almost out of here.